side of the phone. Is it working on the side?
Let me go to the channel. It says I'm live, so I guess it must be. So they're gonna hear that. Oh fuck yeah. Okay, I need to put this on mute.
I don't know. Anyway, hello everyone. Special Weasel streamer, honest by myself. As you can tell by the time not Weasel, I'm AliceRulerofWater. But regular.
And I'm the scope of not ruler of water, and we're talking to Alice. How you doing, Alice?
I'm doing okay. As you can see, we're playing LVP karting. As you can see, Sark buttons down. Anyway,
We got everybody in the picture, so yeah.
Anyway,
is everybody in chat hearing us? Are we coming through okay?
Thank you, Connors. Cutting is back.
I'm comparatively louder.
Yeah.
What should I do about
You're
that?
my max. I'm switching. Is it better? I just I had you on my max. On max.
Okay, I will. Have we been bumped down? Am I a little bit quieter? Because I got my headphones on, so you're perfect in my ears. Like I can hear you. I am good.
Okay, cool. But yeah, we're talking today because the combination of bias talk I had with you about. So fun fact, this is the thing I'm Betty. Like I always bring Betty ready. Places. I am a Romani heritage. It's a way I found that out. Of Roma heritage is like because of a bunch of personal shit I don't want to talk about, but because of that, it's always been like this weird feeling I had. I've been talking more with Israel and Basar about that. More communicated into this.
Well, I'm very proud that we're a space that you can share that with, and I hope that we've been able to help you feel comfortable with being more open about that.
Yeah. So first, this is the first of three roundtables. Hopefully, that the two other ones will be
Quick,
professional.
quick pause, Alice. We're seeing in chat that you need to be bumped up in audio. Subim says that you're almost completely inaudible.
Wait. Testing? Testing? Can we more? No?
A solid 10, maybe even 20 decibels, is Soup saying.
Because I do have like noise filters. We move it? Let me see. Is it better now? Hello? 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 Let me actually put... hello? Hello?
Hive asks if you're able to up your gain at all. It's getting better, but it still needs to go up from Soup.
I can up my gain, yeah. I just had a bunch of like noise filters. So pass on level. Open. Fucking. Where's noise gain again? It's been a while since I've used this. I had my fucking account. Wait, so can we swear?
How are we feeling about the sound now, chat?
Is it bad?
There we go, almost level with me.
Cool. But yeah, can I swear like Weasel?
Oh yeah, I mean you can swear as much as you want. This is, as far as I'm concerned, this is your show. I'm just playing second fiddle over here.
But no, as I was saying, I'm over many heritage, and because of being able to talk more about the space and that, me and Weasel decided to do this so this is the first of three. One day was about one more issues. It's gonna be fun. This first one is much more like a 101 and history stuff. Yeah. Do we start? Is there anything else we need to do?
I think that's about it. What did we want to do for the second one? Is going to be about media rep.
Yeah, media rep, and the third one is just more general, like what's like living in Portugal as a person, like anyway, just like what's like living in Europe, because women people majority live in Europe plus like South America and America. Yeah.
So that's our schedule, folks, that we're going to be kind of playing around with. But yeah, that's what we're going to try to be hitting on.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, so we started.
Yeah, I guess we're starting.
Yeah. So
Professor Alice, where are we going?
yeah. So I guess we might well explain just one on one. What is a woman person? I think most of you know what is what a woman person is, but might as well just explaining very one on one thing. Woman, womani, there's a bit of a discussion with wisdom to use. I will use woman now because it's the most popular one right now. Though there was like always no agreement, like with any marginalized group. But Roma people like ethnic group that originally came from India, that settled in Europe, and then because of colonialism, South American, North American, other places. There's also Afro-descent groups that are tied to like Afro migrations from India. Roma group, Roma people are mostly, if you know Roma people, it's because of a lot of media depictions. We'll talk about that later. Well, a specific word is used that started to see. That's a slur. Never use that. That's a slur. Roma people can use that word because reclamation, but no other people. It's like the N word or like the F slur or whatever. But yeah.
Now, there was one thing I wanted to ask about that, if I could ask it really quick.
Yeah.
When talking about, should we just use the term anti-Roma discrimination? Because I noticed in the book that I was reading, they use anti and then the G slur,
Yeah.
and don't want to be doing that.
Yeah,
So
that's used by like Roma people. Yeah. So like how certain marginalized groups use like the slurs to describe like that. Like
okay,
just a quick thing, due to because like the thing is like the Roma people like very marginalized, and because of that, there's a lot of like privacy and like feeling of like you only want to talk about certain things in community. So specifically, a lot of Romani people from like certain other more rural parts, they will might not care that you use the slur because you're like they just want you to like leave them alone. So like how like certain like black people like the South and everything just like don't care if you do a racism if you like just leave them alone in their communities because most of these people live in community. Yeah, but like it's one of those things where like you might meet like a Roma person or something that like doesn't mind that they don't mind, no, mostly because they do mind, but it's because of like discrimination and stuff, you know. But yeah, like but yeah, they're like we are like ethnic group from India that settled in Europe. You might know from either the Pixans that are often very pragmatic to talk about that. So a bit of history. So by what most academics agree upon, the India part is agreed upon. There's a bit of diciness. This talks in the book and the videos I sent you. I sent with some videos from like more person that does a lot of stuff on TikTok and YouTube about this. There's a bit of diciness about, not diciness, but like the way to where specifically how the migration happened. But one of the weird theories is like there was this there was this king from Persia that got a lot of like Indian slaves from a specific Indian caste, right? And that king bought them as like their culture, like the cultures and musicians and stuff. And along with people migrating from Armenia when they to Armenia from India due to different reasons. When there was like a bunch of wars and stuff, a lot of them migrated to Europe, right? So there was this endless migration of what called like the Roma people. And as this migration happened, you had a lot of like things of like culture and everything because those periods were like they would settle in that and that and this place that they are like where a lot of people live now, right? And along with this, there was a lot of like maintaining of culture, but association of cultures. Like more people were if I'm right, primarily like Hindu. They maintain like the caste system and stuff like that, and like various like views of Hinduism. That things that the migration happened. That things and everything. But specifically, a lot of them settled in what was the Ottoman Empire, which is now Turkey and a lot of the Middle East, and also like the Balkans, right? Which gets into some fun stuff. Let's talk about slavery.
Let's talk about slavery.
Yeah, content warning.
Just as a heads up, you might need to adjust your noise canceling again. It seems like you're dropping your audio just a touch.
Should I lower it or like just a second.
And while you're doing that, I'll put the name of the book and the author
Oops.
in the chat
Oops,
so
sorry.
that folks can look it up if they want to.
I have two image caps. Sorry. I love streaming. Streaming is so good.
Streaming is so good.
Nothing bad happened in the streaming. Where's my audio set?
Dynamic carding gameplay. The book that we've been referencing, I put the YouTube channel in the chat. It's a very good YouTube channel. There's about 7 videos or so on it. Very easy to listen to, very informative without being too much to take in any one go. So I recommend that quite highly. And then the book is... Oh, fudge. Here we are.
Where's my audio filters? Yep. Yeah. Lowering noise field. Yeah, lowering. Adding more gain. Is it fine now? I suppose I do speak with an accent, so like some words might be incomprehensible or like something like that.
Hive is saying it sounds fine.
Okay. But yeah, let's talk about slavery. Content warning, slavery. Talk about slavery and everything. So, as Roma people settled, they settled in the Ottoman Empire, with the Ottomans specifically had a rule. This ties also with like in content, the African slave trade and stuff like that. They had a specific rule that like non-Muslims will like seen as being able to being slaveable, because of like not Muslims in these states, like something that is like what was acceptable, like a person to slave, etc., etc. This asked us ties into a reoccurring theme was like, because Roma people were not seen as Muslim, but because this is a recurring thing, because Roma people are like this group that migrated from India to like Europe and like other parts. We are not seen as pure to that part, as like coming to that part. We're not in business, so there's a lot of things where like we are part of a play. We have no land and no things. This causes a lot of issues where people basically want to expel us every time, because we are not because we are not seen as being part of that group, because we're not culturally associated with that group, even though from that place, even though I'm from there. But yeah, because we are not seen as like Muslims or like from the Middle East and stuff like that, like that area, there was a heavy use of slavery, primarily to like this led to the creation of basically a slave caste. Different Roma people did the different things. So like you had people that are like the cookers, the people that are like do agriculture, cotton entertainers, a lot of sexual assault, of course. Which led to a lot of bad stuff. This was later abolished as the Ottoman itself abolished slavery, but a lot of those lands were taken over by Russia, specifically in Romania. The 3 principalities of Romania kept those rulers, which led into 100 years of slavery. Specifically, they created new slave castes. They got a new slave castes. They reinforced the rules. Were like, if you were born, if you're born just Romani, if you're like born a Romani person, you were automatic slave. There was like no even like big, or you can be free or pay your slave. You are internally slave. People were hunting down them if they tried to fly there. There was images of like they literally, if anything bad happened. Now, if they so-called messed up, they would be forced to like walk on the snow to that, which is fun stuff. Yeah, this caused like this reoccurring thing of like basically Romani people, like there was other Romani people outside of Romania, but this is like a traumatic experience, because like first this is recurring to other parts of Europe, Romania and also the Ottomans and stuff like that are like just big examples, but specifically this created a lot of internalized trauma, because for like 100 plus years you will a lot of Roma people basically just like stuck on an eternal loop of suffering. basically very similar to like African Americans in America. Let's say that. Yeah. So like there was this eternal loop of suffering and everything till it was abolished. I want to say like was it 95? Like start of like 90, like the start of like is it 1900s? Yeah. It was
I
about
think it's 1860s, maybe. There's
I,
like it seems like there's a couple of stages where it
yeah, there were
was
different
abolished in Romania.
stages because specifically because Romania for a long time was three different principalities. So
Mm-hmm.
like it in Transylvania it was abolished early, but then in the other ones it took I want to say when it took it to Wallonia it took it to like 90 um 1910 like the 1910s specifically because a lot of passes from people who read a lot of like African American literature like abolishment papers and stuff. Yeah, so this part of history is real fucking bad, but specifically we creates a specific thing where, like, because of this internal slavery system that was even more hassle than even the American slavery system, and there was like no, like, till the arrival of abolishment literature and everything, and the abolishment, because there was new ways of doing like labor enslavement that was so-called more like human, I think it's more human, there was no big movement because Romani people were stuck in this weird loop of like, as a group that arrived to Europe from this mass migration, they did not have access to a lot of the resources because the moment they arrived, they were already punished for that. So like, it creates this loop of basically isolating the group into this tiny communities that have to endure that. Which is why if you go to a lot of Eastern Europe, a lot of the I think that I should have said earlier is Roma people are like 15 groups in Europe. There are various ethnic groups because the migration led to various different places that even if they're technically from like the same Indian caste or something, it created different people, like different communities and spaces. So like to give an example, I'm from Portugal. The very Roma are called Kala. They have a different culture from the Eastern European ones, even though they have a lot of similar history, right? So like because of that, like if you go to Romania and like talk to a lot of like Roma people, the biggest Roma people in Romania literally have still the names of like the slave or caste groups they were part of. It's like this is the group that used to be like the cooks or like this used to be the farmers or whatever. Which we of course into this thing. But yeah, so this is like a big fucking thing and ties into other things. Before we talk about the other big incident, I should explain some things specifically. As decades go, specifically in Western Europe and parts of Eastern Europe, there was this fetishization of the Roma but only in aesthetics, right? Because due to escaping slavery, due to escaping a lot of discrimination, Romani people have to like. That's why Roma people have to like live a lot, walk a lot, because you used to and still now cannot be in one place. You have to escape, and the only person is your community. That's why a lot of us move a lot, right? This created this fetishization of like, oh, the Roma people are so free. They rock.
One of the things I noticed in the book, and it seemed like a real like a catch-22, where it's like there's a lot of like, well, we can't trust them because they're always moving around, and as you said, this kind of like fetishization and romanticization of their being able to move around, but they're being forced to move around because they're being literally made like illegal to stay in these places. So it's
Yeah,
like they can't stay, but if they move around, then they get this negative stigma that's attached to them.
yeah. It's one of those things where like those it's classic thing of like any. It's one of those things where like it's a we call it think marginalized groups, right? There's a fetishization as the same time there's a fear, right? So because of that, there are a lot of people that hate us created this idea of like, oh, okay, these people are evil and everything, but the issue is because because there's this vehicle, but sorry, what I mean is like there's the narrative was created that many people like, oh, okay, they're dangerous and everything, but the issue is they're dangerous is like because they mixed too much. Which gets into eugenics, as I say, it's eugenics. It was created the idea of like the pure woman, which is like, okay, the pure woman like basically fantasy elves. They just walk a lot, they just run a lot, they just like paddle around. But once like somebody specifically if pure European blood meets or like has a kid or whatever with them, they become tainted, and that's the bad woman. Because that's bad, which is pure genetics. But this idea of the pure woman that are like the innocent ones, basically, I would not say even infantilize. Like, what's the term? Like, the personalize?
Dehumanized?
Yeah, like
in a way.
Yeah, but it's like this really fetishistic dehumanization when it's like you're basically just a caricature of yourself that has like no sentiences besides like walking, like being the most stereotypical person, which is just you just walk a lot, you just run a lot, you just go free, you just move around. You don't have like ideology or like friends or family or like material conditions. You just exist as if you're like an immaterial human being. But yeah, this idea of like the like pure woman that's like thing is just a pure concoction of like European racism. Because again, like this ties a lot into like European racism at the time. Was like a quick thing as an European racism is real fucking weird. It's both. It's different than American racism, not in like the way European racists say like, oh, we don't have racism in Europe, we have racism in Europe. It's because it's due to Europe not being a unified settler state like America, right? Different countries have different ideas of what's called like the pure group, right? Due to like certain wars, infighting and stuff. So, like, to give an example, in certain parts of Europe, if you're Italian, even if you're technically white, and there's a lot of whiteness there, you're still seen by a lot of, like, old fascist guys as, like, non-white because of, like, old like, European eugenics shit. And this specifically goes into, like, Roma stuff, where Roma was seen as, like, when the Romans entered Europe, there was a lot of this fear of, like, oh, they don't practice Christianity, they don't practice, so, like, their skin is black. A lot of that fear typed a lot of like, oh, they're just invaders, they're not here, they're not like the Franks, like that, like the various Romani principalities. Basically, everyone put their fear in, and it's this concoction of like hyper racism, and like anti-Ziganism that's like real fucking bad. But yeah, this idea of like the pure woman that just does a lot is a real fucking problematic thing that we across the media. And in talking about we going to media, I feel like we should talk about the other thing now. So how do you feel about this?
I mean, if you're up for it, it's a lot, but if you're up for it,
yeah, let's talk about this content warning, the Holocaust and World War II and stuff. So tying this back. How like in Germany in before World War II even there was a lot of like congresses and like programs about the Romani people because the idea was like I said because they're not like an European group because they're not like so-called like European like so-called not civilized. There's a lot of like this weird fucking respectability parts from like anti-Semitics saying, oh, I hate the Jews, but at least they're like European enough, like not like those Roma, with this fucking respectability politics racism by whales that hate both. But yeah, it's one of those things where like there's already a lot of like congresses and stuff about reoccurring like Roma stereotypes and racism. Specifically, they're very criminal because they move a lot. Because the ones that are pure are so-called are fine, but the ones that are mixed, they're committing too much crime, they're moving a lot because they're committing too much crime. We need to basically exterminate them. I will keep this short, not to make this too depressing, but basically, there was a lot of stuff about like programs to hunt Romani people, to basically destroy them. Even before World War II, with when World War II alive, it basically created a system like there was no support groups, because even among like a lot of respectable people and people who'd been like in the historical left and stuff, Romani people are seen as scums because this internal layers of propaganda due to not having even a bit of recourse, like what the marginalized groups in Europe, which reoccurred into this genuine extermination of Romani people in the Holocaust. That's in like there's a specific word for it in the Romani language that's like the devouring, because there was a total destruction of Romani people. There's certain Romani people groups that don't exist anymore, and a lot of this was very like people were killed just on spot because there was a susceptibility already of this of basically wanting to exterminate Romani people in European discourse being acceptable since forever, because there was never no pushback, no constitution group, no anything. So what happens with this concussion that's just real fucking disgusting? Like, again, I'm not gonna fully talk about it, but what happened is really fucking disgusting, and I want to be careful about this, but there's a lot of like specific revisionism around it from like right-wing fascists and Zionists that specifically, for different reasons that are basically all the same, they basically want to erase Romani people out of the Holocaust. So a lot of Holocaust museums don't even announce this exists, which is a fucking issue.
That was one of the things, not to break in too much, but it was one of the things that really struck me when I was reading the book, because like it made sense, and it was like, oh yes, of course, when I was reading it, but thinking about learning about the Holocaust, through U.S. education systems and just the way that the Holocaust is discussed in other places and other times, like it's the Roma are just not really mentioned, or they're mentioned very offhandedly.
This also comes because there was very few scholars about resourcing the Holocaust from the Romani side, because there was like very few Roma people. Like a lot of the scholars studying like the Swiss Holocaust were of course Swiss. Roma people did not have that with specific conditions.
I'm nodding my head, which is like completely useless for me to do because there's no camera on me. But
it's one of those things where like I always say this to being a communist, that you need to look at things materially. And a lot of the Roma stuff the Roma people is like, to be very clear, this is not attacking any marginalized group or anything with the marginalized groups, because I'm not doing European Olympics. Just speaking of this convention, due to the fact that we are seen as like fully non-European, even though we will in Europe for a long time, there was no even like fake trying to seed some kind of attempt, some kind of like compromise, because the compromise was always in the European mind of destroying us. So because of that, there was not even some Roma people, even a very limited of them can like go to university or something. The thing was always destroying them. So we had like no actual material economic like ways of entering certain academics, certain universities, certain anything. Because the narrative, because since the start, this is a thing with a lot of marginalized groups. Specifically, it's a thing that you always talks like always fucking important to put with Roma people. Since the start, the goal was extermination. Maybe you can say the goal was just slavery and abuse, but at the point since forever the goal became extermination, which created this recurring system of like any fucking we cannot enter any institutions. Like if you look at a lot of countries, like people who became university professors that were women and stuff like that only happens in other countries in the 80s. Even in the 2000s in other countries. So because of that, there was no system, there was no reoccurring, and a few Roma groups were basically exterminated as well, like Roma activist groups. So it creates the system of like we cannot tell the story. This is why a lot of Roma people, like I mentioned, a lot of Roma people like to be in community only, because we've seen the trauma, we've seen the thing. Like I am out of Roma community because my family basically left the community years ago to become respectable. So I cannot enter a lot of spaces because even for a lot of like Roma, even for a lot of Roma people, even if you're Roma, like we don't have stuff like blood quantum, like after specific rules about real money or nothing. It has to do more with like, are you seen as somebody? It's like, well, yes, real money, but even if that, it's like, are you somebody that will benefit this community because you still have like the thoughts of outsider, of the people that oppress us. So like this info about the Holocaust and stuff will be kept in community because people have legitimate fears as a thing. If that makes sense. So is this making sense to be clear?
I mean, it does make sense, and also legitimate fears, and also very legitimate generational trauma.
Like yeah, this is why it's important to talk about the Holocaust, because like due to the fact it's so forgotten at the Romani part, and due to the fact years of slavery, discrimination, attack, it creates a thing in Roma people that sometimes can be negative, but it comes from like a place of like, this is what happens when you have 1,000,000 years of trauma inflicted upon you. So let's say atomized groups are less traumatized because now we are traumatized, as I say. Due to specific case of hypertrauma, there's specific, even extra reluctance than atomized groups of talking with outsiders. What I call like Gesetz and in like the Roman language, because of this constant trauma. Because like you said, there was very few info about the Holocaust from the Roman side till barely recently. Like Germany does put it in school manuals, but even then, the Serbian government in other ways has tried to relay that due to certain politics regarding Germany and Israel that's for not the stream possibly not today. But yeah, it's one of those things where like it's a fucking mess. But yeah, I mentioned the Holocaust, the slavery, this to go to understand. Roma people are a marginalized group that's due to hypertrauma have a lot of specific uniqueness when it comes to like marginalized spaces and marginalized communities. Because at the end of the day, we're just people. Like Roma people are an European people minority at this point, and that's what the countries, of course, like specifically because I'm European. And because of that, we have a specific role in Europe where like we are both fetishized and hated. So yeah. Before you go, Omar, do you have any questions on chat or anything? I hope I haven't been fast or anything. I'm just, yeah.
I don't think you're being too fast. I think you're doing a really good job explaining really fucking tough subject.
It sucks. Like I said this without love. It sometimes sucks to be woman, the same way it sucks to be trans, the same way it sucks to be like any marginalized group. Nothing. It sucks to be myself. It sucks that the world hates me. You know.
Well, we don't. Hello, words. Words are a thing that I do. Above all, just want this to be a safe experience for you as well. You know, if you feel like it's too much, by all means, like say, hey, this is something. Can we set this aside?
Yeah.
When I've got an extra spoon to deal with that aspect of the topic.
Yeah.
Because it's not. I appreciate deeply that you're willing to educate on this, but it's not your job to educate on this.
It's not my job. Yeah, it's just like something to talk. So might as well just talk because like, here's the thing. With all respect, and I need to be careful when I say this. I feel like due to a lot of I'm a non-English speaker. I'm non-Anglo-Saxon talking in a lot of English spaces. It's like sometimes I do get a bit annoyed when like the way certain people who otherwise are like progressive and everything talk about certain things, specifically regarding Europe, because like the thing is like there's a lot of stuff you're missing there, as if I was missing if I was talking about like Asia or South America or something, because we can only talk from our experiences often. Like this is my thing. Me being a Romani trans person from Portugal is different. Roma trans person from Portugal is different from being a Roma trans person like America, like Brazil or something. So like it's one of those things. Like I'm just willing to indicate because I want to, with good faith, to talk about these issues. Because there's a lot of misinformation, specifically in America, about this from people who otherwise know better. You know, which doesn't come from harm or anything. It comes from like, as I said, there's an ideologicalness that comes from like European racism and stuff.
Can I ask a quick uh, stream technical question? Can you see the chat?
I cannot see the chat, so if they're saying anything.
Okay. Okay, then let me read the chat to you. Hive did mention that you're making sense, and that they have no questions. Soup asks a question. I'm going to read it all out. It's a bit of a chonker. Um, Soup asks, would it be accurate to draw a parallel between the requirement of value for Romani people to be accepted within these communities and the desire for cis white hegemony with regards to the Black community and the LGBT community?
Yeah, it's a bit like it's both that and not that in the sense of like a lot of this is even more safeguarding because like it's not respectability in the sense of like there's the thing. It's not respectability part in the sense like they don't want to be respectable in the sense they just want to keep themselves inside, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's two angles of this. There's respectability actually. There's two parts of this. There's respectability politics and like there's a lot of like respectability policies, Roma, that are like okay, I'm a real good Roma because I'm a lawyer and everything. I'm good to people to people outside Rome, to outsiders and stuff like that. But I only talk about the politics inside. People should set up so like look nice and that, right? And but there's also a part of that's like no, we should never leave our communities. We should just be here in this place because just go to the grocery store, talk to the person if you know, go to the government if you need to, but please don't leave the space. One is more the example with the lawyer I gave is much more there is respectability politics, right? The other is like has a bit of respectability politics because like how do I say this? It can be respectability politics in those enforcements of that can tie to like homophobia, queerphobia, racism. Like there's a lot of colorism in Romani communities for very complicated reasons. So
Mm-hmm.
like it can this, but that's much more like a combination of both respectability politics and just a feel of like not wanting to be seen with like outsiders, because like shit has happened. It's very similar to a lot of stuff in indigenous communities. It's like both, yeah, you can do the comparison with his Himosni, and it's a bit different, but also can be tied into like stuff like indigenous people and like indigenous community and like where's the business and stuff. Um, so
Okay,
like
I want to ask a quick question to Soup to make sure that because I'm Soup now when you're asking about accepted within communities, do you mean accepted within the broader community of like where they're living, like in the city, or do you mean accepted within the Roma community? I wish there was like a dot 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 to show if somebody's typing or not, because I'm not sure like how much lag is going on. Okay, so Hive is asking as would this be like how you need to be accepted by indigenous community as a member of the community before your claim to be a member of said community is recognized?
basically yes, basically yes.
Okay, so that's what I thought that you were talking about. So we're on
It's
the same
it's
page.
like I mentioned before. I think there's like because of there's certain thing, there's certain specific issues like one with people. There's no specific like we don't have blood quantum. Like it's not like you need to be approved by the government or like any other institution to like be claimed to be a woman. Though you have something like Putarians and stuff where people like to pretend just to feel exotic
Hmm.
because there's Orientalism. Because sometimes we are both European and non-European, so like there's Orientalism about that. But at the same time, it's like it's primarily like they see you as Roma for the most part. Like the truth around this is like if somebody claims they're Roma, like a lot of Roma people go, "Why would you lie?" Because it's being Roma is so fucking hellish often, specifically in like European countries. It's more, but yeah, it's more similar thing like to be accepted, and you just have to be accepted in the community because you are seen as like having a lot of like bias outside to like things and not being raised in the community, which can cause like
Hmm.
genuine harm. It has caused genuine harm when just accepted without any kind of regulation, not regulation, but like any kind of like examination. So like there's a lot of similar things of like yeah, you need to be in community, you need to be close to the community. You actually need to be safe, like you know your stuff as a role person, etc., etc. Which can lead into gatekeeping, of course, but also there's a kind of like safety mechanism.
I wonder if it's with extremely different stakes, but kind of in that same idea, because you did mention gatekeeping at the end, where sometimes when I would have students in Japan who had spent like a lot of time overseas, maybe they're like their family had moved out for father's job and then they came back and they'd been in overseas schools for a couple of years and then they tried to integrate back into Japanese communities and oftentimes would be pushed out because they weren't Japanese enough anymore.
It's very similar to that. Though I get like the because I don't want to repeat this point. It's a bit different in the case of like those acts of material harm, not those cases. That's a bit different from like of course Japanese people suffer a lot of discrimination, but like it's a bit different from like in Japan where it's a country for Japanese people. Sometimes to its detriment with like cases of settler colonialism in Okinawa and the Ainu. But it's a bit different from like a people group with like no protection. So it's like doesn't justify it. I don't like it 90% of the time, to be honest. There's just nuance. It's like FT7.
I'm not thinking.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, you first.
I was just doing an example of like FT Signify has talked about this regarding like black communities, like black American communities. Well, like black American communities were like often just like worst people they see as too much white and outweighs in the community because of actual safety concerns regarding anti-blackness and stuff. Which is like legitimate, but that's okay, like FT Signify has talked about in his videos can lead into anyway a lot of gatekeeping and like a lot of just expelling people in community that do not even have community. So it's just people like I generally do not believe the safety. This is the thing that marginalized people in group. I don't think safety is just expelling everyone that doesn't like have that maybe not win ways to the community, But that comes from like very complicated feelings. So yeah, like it's one of those things like you're so fantasized and you exoticized and everything that like you do build just like a lot of mind protections about it. But yeah, I feel like I should do some. How much we are in the timer? Do a break? No.
We've got we've been on for 41 minutes. If you need a break now to
No, I'll do
get
it
yourself...
when we hit the 1 hour thing then. But no, I'll continue just like talking about some Zenmo stuff and then we can go into like more Zenmo stuff and then a bit more history and then just talk briefly about media representation, what Roma people push into like this. But yeah, the key thing to understand is like due to all of this, like at the end of the day, Roma people is just marginalized groups like any fucking marginalized group. So it's just people. There's a lot of this is why I just want to make this the misery to it, but like a lot of people, Roma people have traditions. Cultural traditions come from India and come from Portugal, like the country they live like Portugal. Like Portugal, a lot of Roma community have like combinations of culture with like Indian communities and like Portuguese culture. Like they're all Catholic. I don't know they're increasingly becoming evangelical in the American sense, which is bad, but that's another thing. But yeah, they're often Catholic and they combine Catholicism with like Indian like elements. Now Hinduism elements. It's like there's like a lot of like even a bit of like polytheism and like but even biased deities alongside like God. There's a lot of combination there. There's a lot of like culture. Like once you suffer a lot, you just make culture for yourself. Of course, you just make like music and words. There's a lot of very popular Roma music and. In France, one of the pioneers, one of the most important European Zaza, was a swing Zaza. Were like no, it's called Roma Zaza. It's technically used as a slur, but I'm not using the slur. It's like comes from Roma music. There's a lot of culture and moments and people, of course. So I don't want to make this just a misery to it because at the end of the day, it's important to just talk this about in the sense of misery, of course, like with any marginalized people. Because then he goes into time porn where this happens with Roma people the same way it happens with any marginalized people. Where like you have so much trauma that the only thing you can see is the trauma, which is bad. Because like at the end of the day, it's just a human being that living in misery. It's not going to solve anything. I am not going to solve.
Well, there's also
go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was going to say that there's joy in living and there's joy in building culture, and even if that is in response to or as a bulwark against trauma, that it is still joy and that does need to be celebrated and emphasized.
Yeah, like
Mm,
no, just to say, to give an example, a lot of Roma people in Europe live in a lot of like social housing places and everything. Which sounds like the only things like social housing very good. It's just the way do. It's a very like similar thing to like Black Americans, like due to the fact that Roma people are the ones that most get social housing and social benefits, right? There's like a lot of welfare queen and like to give an example, the fastest party here is very focused on like the idea of like, oh no, more people don't work, they only get the benefits and only get social housing, which is free, which is not free. They used to pay a landlord, used to pay the state for it. But yeah, but because of there's a lot of social housing stuff, and a lot of those communities are discriminated because of propaganda and stuff. With a lot of like I live near a Roma social housing thing. I talked to a lot of Roma people from there, and like there's even in like the most dilapidated, semi-privatized houses, there's a lot of community. People often go nearly Sato, have birthdays. There's a sense because of being a non-European group. There's a sense of like family doesn't just mean your like nuclear family. It means like your community. So like a lot of people will like talk like be called uncle and stuff, like the Roma words of those, because they're not the biological uncle, but the uncle in the community sense. They often have like community guides, people you can ask with their issues. It's like there's a lot strong of like there's a system, and there's any very helpful system of like just this is the people you care about, because the idea is like you might not agree with them, you might dislike them for personal reasons, but this is the only people you have often, so you need to have a way of protection. And in that system of protection, why there's a lot of flaws, just because of like I said, there's like Roma people so like there's transphobia, homophobia, like colorism, racism. So like anti-blackness. So because of that, it might lead to accidental issues in the community when like you're a part of the community. At the same time, there's still a system of like you need to be protected, and we're gonna try to protect you. You need somebody to go outside to like pick up your medicine because you cannot work, or afraid of being killed, or afraid of discrimination or racism. We're gonna get there's like somebody that like is much more part of that outside world that's gonna help you get the medicine. Do you need somebody for your birthday party? We're gonna use birthday things to like for this birthday party for like you care.
mm.
There's a sense of community like with any marginalized community that's like we are all in fucking hell, but we're gonna help each other, which I think is important, of course, with any space, a community or space, whatever. Yeah.
There's always going to be that aspect of like, yeah, there's this dude or this gal or person in the community, and you don't necessarily get along with them. You don't follow all of their takes, but they are like a member of the community. So sometimes you got to work together, like unless they're absolute shitheels, but that's
Yeah.
kind of a separate.
Yeah.
That's a separate issue.
Yeah, unless they're like actually doing gatekeeping and stuff like that, was the case like yeah. In that thing. A thing I do like a lot of Roma spaces is like why there's a lot of gatekeeping from outside. If you try from inside to like exclude somebody from their Romaniness that's been in the community for a long time, you're gonna get murdered, which is very funny. It's one of those things where like once you're in the community for so long times, the moment you say it, even jokingly, oh no, you're not actually a real Roma, you're gonna get actually somebody murdering you. Which yeah, it's things, but it's a thing of like if you manage to be in the community, you're in the community. Do not suggest you're not. Because this person has been like been here for like 40 years. Do not suggest they're not Roma because obvious reasons. Which is just a thing. I meant it was just like this person stereotypes. A lot of people from outside, this happens a lot in Europe, where like there's been cases where like let's say like a woman's side has been bullied in school, right? And like they talk to parents, and like their entire community goes to attack the boy kid. That's seen as somehow like to use some problematic language in a way I can use that just to example like it's in a Sabbath, it's not civilized, etc., etc. But in reality, it's like just community protecting themselves. Sometimes it can get a bit over the top, but at the same time, there's a system of protection. Like once, like when a Romani person is in the hospital, a lot of Roma people will actually just go there. They'll be asked, even if the hospital only allows like 2 people to go, please let us be there, because there's a sense of like we don't want you to die because you're part of the community. Which is like, again, it's not unique, not to exceptionalize or anything. Just just part of the community, which I think like nice, you know.
Mm. And it's good to highlight that as well, because I think that as non-Roma, we don't like necessarily have an image of what Roma community is like, because our image is built largely on media stereotypes, and they're pretty
Yeah,
junk.
just to point the thing, you technically can have an image of community, yes, but the thing is, like, you're not paying, so you're not seeing like the fucking 24-hour news reports of like Roma people stealing silver and eating silver, and they're making gangs, like those stuff. Which is primarily it's just like fucking fast to see it, like any fucking community. It's the same thing as like black people, as indigenous people, as like trans people. Specifically, a lot to feel about side wobbly and stuff like that. It's not a weird thing, but it's a thing like fucking. I'm guessing you're old enough, right? There's an ex. You know Peter David, the comics writer.
Which comics writer?
Peter David. He wrote like some Star Trek books, some like X-Men books, X Factor.
Yes.
Yeah, so there was like a couple years ago an incident where like he was like at some con where they had a kind of like queer representation on X-Men. This was like 2015 or so, right? And one of the hosts was like the head of some American Romani like queer site, right? And they will ask of like queer since you're here as a Roma person, even if this is not about queer topics, but like, do you think there will be a woman X-Men? And then this was like one of the first questions, and then Peter David went into this like unhinged rant about like, oh, Roma people are bad because they steal babies and eat babies and stuff like that. He's like an American guy, so people went, hey, how do you know this? This sounds like European It sounds like European racism. So turns out he went to the Czech Republic, and some sectoralist guy, the guy, told him this fucking lies.
We export our racism, and then we import other people's racism, and I hate to see it. Got a question on the a statement on the table from Soup. Wanted to read it out really quick. Soup said, I'm getting the impression there's far less infighting in the Roma community when compared to other marginalized communities. Is that a correct impression?
Technically, here's the thing. I would say no, but yes and no. So there's less traditional infighting in the ways you think in other communities, but that's mostly because we are together. So like there's different things. When you are together, certain issues don't happen. But there's like infighting specifically regarding, it's mostly respectability politics stuff about what you should do, etc., etc., etc. And there's also infighting behind like Roma communities are like barely like localized. So like in Portugal, there's infighting between communities of different cities that wanting different interests. And there's like traditional infighting in terms of like once you talk about like queer Roma, like black Roma and stuff like that. So like I would say there's less infighting in certain issues, but there's after that like there's still infighting, of course. It's just in certain issues there's less, but there's still infighting.
Fair enough. And maybe infighting that wouldn't be as obvious from the outside.
A lot of this is also a lot of infighting is like solve the like this is a thing that gets like used as a buzzword often, like, but it gets really the solving community because like no one watches it. So like Romani social media and Twitter and stuff like that is very young. So like a lot of issues after this needs a solving community. So like a lot of like bailers and stuff, a lot of like Romani groups and like a town where bailers will like discuss about like this or that. Yeah, so this happens a lot specifically with like certain ideas of tearing down certain communities where like there's people like more respectability politics elements are like, yeah, we should just tear down this community that's there and just go move to the normal people houses where like, and then that goes into angry discourse because like a lot of people from this community don't like that for obvious reasons. So yeah, it's just an issue of like I wouldn't say there's less more infighting. As I say, it's just different in other aspects than the traditional stuff, and a lot of it gets solved in community.
Fair enough. And Soup was saying that's exactly the kind of explanation I was looking for, and thank you.
No issue, as always, willing to help. Um,
There
if
was a question that I missed earlier that let me ask it really quick. You were talking about genres of music, one that was really popular in France. And Hive was saying, yes, I was going to ask you about how to refer to that genre of music.
just use Romas as if you're a Roma, you can say the slur. Of course, just use it. I know some French Roma don't mind the slur because there's just the argument is, oh, it's just a no term to say it. It's not offensive. Like, to be honest, I feel like that's just old people like talk. But yeah, just use Rome. That's what most people just say Romas as. There's also I think the term is the Zangos as because the was it the lead was cut thing, but just to use them. Just to use Romas as it's the most easiest way to refer to that genre of Zaza.
Okie
A
dokie.
lot of non-Roma people in Europe are like realizing, yeah, because like here's the thing, which even with fucking let me explain. Alongside actual genocide of indigenous people, the treatment of Roma by like Europeans is genuinely fucking disgusting. But like as I, not all people, etc., etc. There's been slightly some increasements, specifically in certain European, specifically areas where like there's been much more like so-called integrated Roma people, or like much more visible Roma people. So like in Spain, there's a big Roma movement there that's managed to bring in some law, some improvement, and some social visibility. Because in Spain, Roma people are very visible because they created flamenco. So and a big part of Andalusia, which is the southern part of Spain, which is has a lot of where flamenco is from. So yeah, it's like very much one of those things. Like some people realize and they'll like this was bad. Go to us and
So,
go ahead.
oh, I was just gonna say, like, I'm glad that folks are non-Roma are coming around to the idea of like, hey, maybe all of this is not so great. Because I remember reading through some of the sections. I forget which chapter it was, but in the book I was reading, and Professor Hancock, Dr. Hancock, was talking about like different foods that were being eaten around Europe, and like, but not produced by Roma. Uh, and they like were all using the G slur. And it was like right there, like in the food that's being sold in the stores. And it's like, holy shit! Like, wow, maybe not. Maybe maybe let's not. Are you still there? Okay,
Yeah,
good.
yeah. No, no.
I
I was
thought
just thinking. I'm just thinking what we're playing. But no, what I'm just saying is, yeah, that's classic thing. Yeah, there's a lot of food that has Roma slur. Specifically, yeah. So that's just I would say that's just a European thing. I can go to my supermarket and get Fu Manchu pudding, and that's not a joke. Um, we love racism in food. Iconic moments.
iconic moments.
Okay, this is a side note, but there's literally like there's a fucking pudding. No, it's not pudding. It's a flan band that they're like their fucking mascot is like just a Fu Manchu depiction of like a Chinese person.
There's a couple of curries over here, brand curries that are their mascots are pretty racist. So
Yeah, yeah,
not
this,
just Europe, but
yeah, like this is a thing that happens with the like all former imperial states. It's like a fuck.
Kronos is saying iconic racism is certainly a choice of words,
Yes, and
but
sometimes racism can be iconic for them because it's bad. So bad it's iconic.
it's become an icon. It's the worst kind, but it's an icon. Just as a heads up, we are at the 59-minute mark, so we're almost at the 1 hour point. If you want
Okay.
to,
I'm taking a break,
uh,
then we can talk about media representation for a bit. Then just goes like more one-to-one stuff, and yeah, I mean,
sounds like a good plan. So then I will take my break as well, and um, and we'll be back in probably 5 or so minutes. Question mark? Are we back on, Alice?
Yeah.
I mean,
So-
I heard your voice. I didn't know if we were streaming or
No,
if we were
I'm
just
not.
talking.
No, we're back. Okay, so
Okay, we are back.
let's talk fucking tellers. The thing is, the thing is that this is one of those cases like, yeah, the thing is like this is one of those cases where like a stereotype is true, but because of different reasons than what actually the stereotype is. Fortune telling is just a cultural thing in India. It's just seen as like a normal cultural thing. So like, this is also not even just like an Indian thing. A lot of cultures, including in Europe, fortune telling to specific elements like normal. It's like a lot of Roma people were fortune tellers in a specific cultural sense that's tied to a specific culture. It just then got warped into like fortune telling as like an actual thing is different from like media depictions of it, right? So it's like an actual culture thing that then gets fetishized because of the two woman thing, two woman thing. So what happens is like it gets into self-parody of what actually fortune telling is. Fortune telling is also traditionally one of the few jobs for a lot of Roma people in Europe and outside them, because a lot of people do actually want fortune tellers because of the self stereotype and self fetishization. What once was the culture thing becomes just like not a gift, but like a hassle in a negative way, not negative but positive. It just becomes a way to get money when you're very much discriminated, because a lot of people want like a fortune weather. Specifically in culture, like fortune telling is like a cultural thing in Portugal, even before Roma people. So like, but there's also an extra effect of like, oh, I want the Roma people to read my fortunes because they're very good at reading fortunes, you know. So yeah, the book talks a bit about that.
Oh, sorry, you were just you said the same thing I was just gonna say, but yeah. Oh, fudge! I appear to be echoing. I wonder why am I echoing?
Oh no, there's like a thing in your background. I don't think it's echoing. I think it's like something in your background.
Huh. The only thing I could think of would be it being the fan, but the fan has been on the entire time.
I can hear it now. Is Weezer still echoing?
Chad, am I still echoing? The fan is noticeable and there's some reverb in your voice. Let me turn the fan off.
But yeah, like it's one of those things where like it's an actual cultural thing that then gets put into like a stereotype thing. It's like this is the thing to other Roma people. It's like to think of like, oh, we move a lot because discrimination, like the same thing. It's like a lot of these things are actually true, but they're not true in like the way people think they are. Not even like an bigoted sense, in like a fetishized sense. There's just things that come from like actual material interests and like material things in cultural parts.
Okay. It sounds like a microphone issue and not a sound issue.
Weird.
That's super weird. Was I echoing earlier in the stream?
I don't think so.
Because I haven't done anything to my mic, so... No, I wasn't. Worth noting, it wasn't present before. It only came back when you came back from the break. That's super weird, because I haven't done anything to my mic since I was on break. I just put it on my head.
Sorry. I know what happened.
Okay.
I turned on desktop audio, which was muted already. Desktop. I forgot. I had desktop. Quick explanation about Stream Theater. Desktop audio. Once you have when using the audio capture device that captures Discord audio, if you have desktop audio also on, it will create an echo. That's what's happening.
Okay.
I just unmuted it because I muted a bunch of stuff so I can get doing some more without causing noises. Yeah.
Chrono says it's good now, so...
Yeah, it's just desktop audio, but yeah.
we're good. You're not echoing, at least, so there's that.
But yeah, to answer Soup's question, it's just like fucking actual culture thing that can just get twisted by like fucking fetishization. Was might as well just start now, leading to this. This is a bit more casual. Let's talk a bit about Romani representation. There will be like a one table on this, just 101 stuff. So in the work, it talks about this. Because Romani people were never actually allowed to like do art or anything. It creates the image created of Romani people is a self-fetishized aspect of the image that's primarily just out of curiosity, not good curiosity, towards what Romani people are by a lot of European artists and stuff. So like a lot of this, so it creates so stuff like the use of the Z word, stuff like the fortune teller thing, stuff like the whole fucking. There's also stuff that's a creation of like Hollywood and post World War II European cinema, but specifically like Hollywood, like the fucking. A lot of Roma people have Slavic accents in movies and stuff like that, the stereotypes, because they are using the image of the Roma people from Eastern Europe and the Balkans. But here's the thing: when speaking in English, a lot of Roma people from Eastern Europe and Balkans, because they are like from different countries, because they're still just people from Europe and different countries, they have different accents, not this extremely fake accent, you know. So yeah, a lot of this is just aim is just like it's a combination. It's literally, it's a fucking mess of like stereotype, self-fetishization stereotype that's been perpetuated to the years. So like what happens is you create is a real fucking and it's both it's like real fucking fairy tale characters basically. It's like fantasy elves. Well, it's like a fantasy depiction of a culture that maybe is inspired by a real culture, but it's not a real culture. Even though this is meant to represent real people, but actually the truth is a lot of people don't actually like a lot of people that have Romani characters like had Roma characters in the latter. To a certain degree, did not even know Roma people actually exist. They just thought they're like holocreatures or whatever. Which, as you can tell, creates an issue. So, like, you know what time it is?
Speaking, it's many.
Speaking of Eastern Europe, of Eastern European Roma stereotypes, let's talk about Doctor Doom, baby.
Oh, it's Doom time.
Okay, so Doctor Doom, he's just Doctor Doom, enemy of the Fantastic Four, ugly guy that's not ugly. That's his tragedy. He thinks he's ugly, but he's just like looks like a normal guy. But yeah, no. But wait a second. Okay, my mouse was not working for a second. But no. So he's Roma. Like in the original Fantastic Four issues, he gives a backstory of like being from a Roma people in this fantasy Eastern Europe that's mostly fantasy Romania, mostly fantasy Transylvania. It's a whole thing. It's a Marvel comic from like the 50s or 60s, so like yeah, not perfect. Yeah, but the characters Roma comic writers themselves, because comics are a very complicated history. There's same thing with the Scott Wizard we talk about later. Had basically some forget, some don't. Even when they don't forget, the depictions are barely messy, because this is a Roman person from a fake Eastern European land that it's mostly just there because it's using a lot of holotopes. It's like a lot of scarves that don't exist, a lot of cultural tropes that's just mixing different Roman people, right? But like because like this is one of those things is like because there's very few representation, a lot of more people like Doom. A lot of more people like ask Doom honestly because he's like a villain guy that like controls like a kingdom. It's like there's a lot of like liking that it's not that it's like a Roma character that's evil, but not evil in the sense of the Roma characters are depicted as evil. Plus one that has some power, even if like negative power. So like a sense of like leading a kingdom and stuff. So like that it appears to some Roma people. It appears to me. It appears to people, right? So recent news. They got Mr. Iron Man to be him, I guess.
And that's a hell of a choice.
So there's technically, I'm not fucking talking about the MCU set. It's maybe like they're doing a thing about one of the comics. I don't give a shit, frankly. Like, let's have a conversation. The thing is, like, because most Roma people again couldn't be actors and everything, they were like famous European actors and stuff like that, Brazilian actors that are Roma descent. Like Roma people have been famous before. There was a Roma Brazilian president once. At the same time, the thing primarily is because we are not allowed to be depicted ourselves often. It creates this thing of like not just the typical non-mass group plays mass character. It creates the sense of Robert Downey Jr. is still like fucking is not just picked as a Romani person. He's picked as a Romani person with an extremely like messy history that's already going back into other Romani stuff. And because Marvel doesn't care, because this is the thing, they don't care even in the thing of like, oh, you got consultants or whatever.
Now, Soup did ask, didn't they also say they were gonna downplay him being Roma?
I haven't heard that, but if that's the two, I'm gonna fucking kill them, to be honest. Sorry, it's one of those things
It's real murder hours.
Let me be clear. The character is a bit stereotypical. Like, it's a fucking, it's a Stanley thing. Stanley fucking did a lot of racism. That's a weird thing. At the same time, it's like, man, it's just fucking, man. It's one of those things like you are literally doing hyper racism because this is appealing again to the idea of the two Romani because funny enough, I think Doom is mixed in the actual story, but this is appealing to the idea of like, well, people can exist as long as they're like fantasy elves that just move along and are mystical. But once they become real people, we're gonna downplay that. Which is just, man. It was just man.
It's almost like it feels almost a little bit like the way that Hollywood would often use Native American characters in movies.
Yeah,
where you could have like one mystical Indian who would show up and teach something to the white main characters, and it was very much like a stereotype character, but you can't have like any nuance to the character. It has to be this fantasy.
We'll talk more about this later, but it's basically the same thing. Like, I'll talk about this like probably next in the final one time. But like, there's a lot of parallels between Romani people and indigenous people because due to like being like foreigners and like eternal foreigners, even though we live here in European, a lot of European people just use a lot of like tactics. Same thing in Brazil, same thing in America. A lot of tactics are used in certain colonial movements. Specifically, like the thing with Roma people is just like this happens a lot to marginalized people, but it's very much like in a lot of movies it's just ebooks. In a lot of movies I like, to be clear, because I like problematic shit sometimes. It's like mystical slow fortune tellers that either are evil or just tell them the future and stuff like that. Which is not even itself problematic because actual cultural traditions is problematic in how it uses. But yeah, it's basically one of those things like indigenous Americans of like you're allowed to be some mystical fantasy creature, but the moment you become a human being, you're not allowed them. This also just ties that like Doctor Doom is not the first time Marvel does this. Scott Waits, alongside Hobart or Romani, there's a specific thing like they'll decide of Doctor Doom, who is a Holocaust victim in Zeus. And like in the MCU that gets erased. Not only that's erased, there was a thing like the Scott Waits actress did the whole thing of like first years ago she's like colored West. No, it was during the filming of Wonder Vision, like the show. She made a social media post where she described like Scarlet Witch like clothes as like Z-Slur clothes.
Oh, goody!
This was like filming a Disney Plus TV series. This was not 200 years ago. So it's very funny because it's like she's a white British woman if I remember well. So like the UK already has access to the Irish travelers and travelers who are like in a sense community that are like their own thing. But like it's one of those things like okay we can use Romani aesthetics, but still incredibly fetishized to the point you use the store to describe actual fucking. Actually, even when wear the clothes were not even actual Womani clothes, they were like just actual woman clothes. They'll actually just fucking, fake shit because it's all fake shit.
Gonna quick ask question from Hive before we get too lost in it. Hive asked, who said that?
Elizabeth Olsen, which is the Scott West.
Elizabeth Olsen.
I think it's Olsen,
Okay.
right? It's Scott West's actress. If I'm wrong about the name, you can correct me.
Oh no, it's that. I don't think that was the big problem. I think Hive was just making sure.
Yeah, I think I said it a bit too fast
they were
myself.
following.
Yeah. It's Scott West's actress, like, she had the whole thing, and like, Scott West is not an example of this, but like, it gets this way time. Like, the thing is, like, this is one of those things, like I've said with Dr. Doom, like, these characters are incredibly stereotypical by point. They're not made by Roma people, they're just using Hollywood horror tropes often. At the same time, like, again, not to get into a person's politics or personal Olympics or whatever, but the thing is, you normally get lip service about anti-marginalized groups in very like, who hired consultants, we have this, and etc., right? But because Roma people are not seen as actually existent people, you get nothing, not even the lip service. Which the lip service is bad, it's just, it gets really tiring.
Kind of tying into that, but one thing that I noticed reading Hancock's book was that there seems like there's a lot of push towards making Roma not a people, but like an activity.
It's like that, yeah. Like, again, it ties into like the fetishization, like the pure woman stuff, but like, just you go around, you're free. This is the thing with the use of the slur, because the user still gets used to describe a lot of stuff like, these people are very conniving, these people are very free spirited. Like, there's like songs from like the 60s that are like, this person is very free spirited, so we're gonna use the free slur because it gets more used as like a word to describe certain activities, not an actual people group. Which again is very similar to like part of indigenous people, like spirit characters and stuff like that. It just gets brought into aesthetic.
Right, and because they've built the idea that it's not a people, that it is just an aesthetic or just a series of activities, they may not even realize that they really do need these like sensitivity readers and people to tell them like,
yeah,
hey, could you not?
To give an example, like I've said this before on stream, like Marvel's first comics writer, who's a woman, Heritage, Trini Howard, who's a pretty cool like queer person. She started writing for Marvel in like 2019, and that's the first Romani writer, or at least opening Romani writer.
And they've had characters who they Roma portray as Roma
since like the 60s or 50s.
Since the 60s, yeah. Well, because Dr. Doom, he's pretty early on in Marvel's history.
Yeah, like he's pretty early for like the Marvel before because previously not the Atlas comics. That's where Captain America from. But yeah, like 50s, like actual Marvel stuff. It's one of it's one of those things where like there's not a lot of like academic sensitivity with us and stuff. So it just gets a mess. Specifically, after the things like the moment it's already starting, but after the moment is how do I explain? This is not to separate communities, but at the same time the thing is like Roma people like 15 ethnic groups and plus a bunch of adjacent groups. So like we are not all the same and have different things. So like primarily what happens is like when more representation happens and stuff like that, you need actually more fucking like people of not just one part of Roma, because again 15 different groups and between cities, borders, specifically in Europe, those groups are basically different, not the parts. Due to isolation, cultural isolation stuff, a lot of people just stick in the specific group. of like the city, like the woman ethnicity. So yeah. So yeah, it's very like we are not fucking how do you say this homogeneous group. It's like very similar to like Zois groups because there's like different Zois groups depending on like the area they're from.
And that makes a lot of sense because there, as you said, there a lot of these communities have been living in isolated areas or living in separate from other Roma groups, even within Europe. And then you've got Roma who are in the Caribbean. You've got Roma that are in South America. You've got Roma that are in North America, which was a big surprise to me. And
Yeah,
hearing you say that in stream,
yeah,
and then reading it in the book, and it's like, oh, like
that's
again, it makes sense. But I never considered it
like
because we never hear
to
about
be
it.
clear, the way a lot of Roma people are in Europe, the biggest group is in the American. Like when I say American, I mean Canada or Mexico. I mean United States has the the biggest Roma community, just by numbers of people.
And we never hear about it.
Yeah,
which is pretty fucked up.
This is like a whole fucking thing. Yeah, it's also one of.
How about that?
Okay.
How about that RJD? RDJ?
Yeah.
Wait, what's his fucking name? Robert Downey Jr. Right, okay, there you go.
Yeah, how about that guy? Love that guy. Yeah, no.
Love that guy.
But yeah, it's the Marvel thing is primarily just Marvel being Marvel. There's also other stuff. Like, a lot of this also comes to Disney because Disney... Like, here's the thing. Disney is the entire... is to get very, very out of this call right now. Disney is very much like the eternal, like, thing that consumes and imperializes other people's cultures and then just regurgitates it. It's like American imperialism. So, like, to give an example, the example that's very classical is the Hunchback of Notre Dame, right? Which is taking a very complicated novel. Like, that novel depicts the Romani people, very complicated. Because it's written by a fucking Frenchman, like the 17th century, that was meaning well, but also those conditions. But yeah, it takes that's already having messy depictions of ableism and stuff. And just like turning that depiction into very like Hunchback of Notre Dame, the Disney movie, tries to do some stuff. There's the whole thing about like the Catholic priest man who actually for a Disney movie actually goes into some stuff about Catholicism, the Catholic Church relating to like fetishization of like Roma people and also destruction of them. But that's like as well as depiction in that movie still very like the free will of like true Roma stereotype thing. Yeah. It's
Soup
like
is saying, oh, sorry. Just to read Soup's comment really quick. Galaxy Brain move to get the guy who did the air quotes iconic blackface in Tropic Thunder to play a character whose real life people have essentially zero positive rep.
Yeah, it's one of those things.
Oh, ironic, not iconic. Excuse me.
Yeah. Just a quick side note before I go into Mr. Zunio. There is like decent depictions of Roma people, but all those depictions are like you basically just have to be immersed into like European cinema. There's like in the Romani web front favor I'll mention his name. There's like a French Roma filmmaker that's actually kind of known in film circles that does a lot of interesting stuff. There's a Spanish movie called Witslav I like a lot. That's a bit stereotypical. It's by a Spanish guy that's not Roma, but it's still like has a lot of Roma people. It's about like Andalusian like Roma like melodrama in a good way. There's like decent enough stuff, but it's basically in the mainstream and most culture. Like you're gonna really need to dig to a bounce of trash and racism and like stuff that's genuinely feels like a minstrel soul. Like not genuine, but the stuff that feels like in that territory. It's like a whole fucking thing.
Suba says, so it's more of a non-European mass audience issue, not a global issue. It's worth knowing.
Like, to give an example, like, mainstream European media about Roma is real fucking bad, but, like, this is counter example, specifically because, like, mostly because of stuff like movies, swords, and stuff like that, though. there's also just other avenues because Europe has some more public funding of art, so occasionally some countries have like public funding of minority art. So like because we're more some of the only national minorities in Europe recognized, you get some funding of like some more sorts. I'll talk more about the Romani Roundtable stuff, but the depiction is like it's really bleak still. There's good stuff. There's a lot of bleak to it. It is kind of a non-European issue, but like European depiction of Roma is like very complicated. I could say like American depictions of like Native Americans, like there's positive stuff, new stuff that's really exciting, and then there's just the worst shit ever. So like,
and there's Yellowstone.
Yellowstone. We don't have Roma Yellowstone, but that's because all the Roma's land's already been stolen before, even yeah. But you know, Mr. Robert Downey Jr. is like it's just a very much flashback for the MCU that's already just tying to ugly history. There's been a lot of complaints about it. What I imagine they would do is they'll like have like a line about it in like whatever Fantastic Four movie comes out, or like sequel, and then Doctor Doom say, "Well, I'm not Roma, but some of my best friends are Roma," some shit. Not that later, but like,
oh God.
Like,
sorry, because I could totally see it, and I hate it.
It's like a 1 minute of like going, "Man, I was raised by this person, but I'm not Romani, just raised by this Romani lady, and she's cool," or like the other ones, like some shit like that. It's the MCU. I don't expect good rap, but just in this case, like I don't think having a Romani person in a Disney movie is good. I just think it's just exaggerates by the fact that there's not.
Well, they would take a character that is one of that character's defining traits. Well, okay, depending on the writer, it's one of the character's defining traits. It'd be like, it's not, and it's a big character. It's not just like a side,
Yeah.
Just mah. Although you now mentioning Disney and Romani rap,
is this the Pixar thing?
yes, because you had mentioned that, and it's feels like a small victory, but also it is kind of Disney, and that's not any victory at all. But I'm also not of the culture, so
like the thing with Pixar is like, I think Pixar even now has much due to their artisan, like can put out something a bit more authentic. At the same time, it's like there's been the whole thing about like we're not making movies with bad nice people, we're making like IP movies now. So like I need to know. There's also the thing of like the descriptions are like, oh, these two characters are big like museums, and I'm like, this can go into stereotypes. And all those things are like, it's nice to some progress. I'm gonna wait and see them. If it's bad, I'm like probably done with Pixar for more reasons than representation is. But it's just yeah. It's one of those things where like, listen, again, I can repeat 2015 discourse about representation from multimedia companies or corporate art or whatever. It's always going to be compromised, but like the thing is primarily about this is like, I think it's positive in terms of hiring, but I don't expect nothing, not because it's by big companies, but because it's by specifically entities that like don't actually know the local context. So like, let's wait and see, right? Like again, there's a lot of Romani people in America, so it's not like, oh, it's a pink thing or South American thing. It's just like it's just not the thing that's like in most people's heads.
I keep on nodding, and I know that's not useful, but I keep on nodding anyways.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where like again, we're talking more about this, but the depictions of Romani people are so like self-fantasized and stuff like that. We're not talking about Romani people like people that are not called like allies, but more people who know the stuff. Because it would like, I'll say this, like, because of the native Romani people, a lot of Romani people get put into like neighborhoods and stuff that are mostly just poor neighborhoods, like African immigrants, even black people live there, right? That were born in like European countries with a lot of poor white people. So like that results in like can result in some community tensions because of bad stuff, but at the same time it results in like people who are some of the only people in that space that know what many people and how to to them. So they have like a specific type of like not authenticity or like even knowledge of the experience, but like trust. It's like those people can make act or can like talk about those issues in a way that's like respectful and stuff, and have done before. In the same way, like white people that like live in like poor neighborhoods, lots of black people can like maybe understand a bit more about black person than most white people. So like it's one of those things of like this can even be done by people who are not Romani. It's just one of those things of like how the system works and how capitalism works. And how like white supremacy and stuff, because a lot of this is tied to white supremacy and like colonialism and stuff. You have anything to add, Lisa?
Well, do I have anything to add? I mean, I feel like that does cover that aspect of the issue where you've got people who are living in close contact with a marginalized group, either racially marginalized or on other axes. And they are not of that group, but they are living among members of that community and may have not firsthand experience, but the secondhand experience of having things happen around them. But I feel like that's just reiterating what you've said. So
yeah, no. It's been a lot. We spent like an hour on this. It's not to end the stream now, but like I think we for the 101 stuff they explained basically a lot, right?
We did cover a lot of ground.
So with representation and stuff like that, I'll do like 3 more minutes of representation talk. Leave it for the next thing, and then we spend like we have like what 50 like after that 15 minutes or so after that.
Yeah.
So I can spend the rest just like doing general stuff and like even talk about other stuff that ties into this, and then just end the stream. I'm guessing this will not go overtime or whatever, like like 6 streams or whatever.
Let me grab a comment here, since I got the chat in front of me. Soup says, not counting big corporate productions, more for indie projects, but would it be fair to say at least half of the issue is simply not hiring Roma people to consult on your project and then following through on that, or is it more deeply ingrained than that?
It's both. It's not hiring Romani people to consult on a project. This is also ties into like other systematic issues. Like to give an example, in Europe, sensitivity readers are much more like a slower thing happening here. There's actually like a big culture war around it by like European right wingers that like say, "Oh no, we're importing American culture," because as everyone knows, caring about other people's feelings of a marginalized community is a thing only Americans do.
Oh, we're the only ones.
Yeah, it's like one of those things. Like, there's a lot of like culture war stuff about European right wingers saying any type of like representation is somehow like an American idea. When like, no, like even before like America, like you can look at the history of Romani people. There's been like people thinking, hey, maybe I should ask people, even like the worst times. But yeah, it's one of those things. Like, it both ties into just not hiring people, not consulting, which would solve a lot of issues. Honestly, even in just like a kid or something, even not in indie production. But also, it has like systematic issues of like, specifically outside in the European context, there's a lot of stuff need to be done in terms of protections, in terms of stuff, in terms of investment, and in terms of like actually trusting people in the community. So like it's a combination of like, yes, consult more people, hire more people, but also like needs to fight more wider discrimination. In the American context, I imagine it's the same thing. I imagine also like I imagine it's also this thing of like acknowledging what money people exist in America.
Well, we've got our own issues with sensitivity readers, where like a big thing that seems that happens that I hear from other groups is like, yeah, a company will hire on sensitivity readers and then just like not do anything that they say.
Yeah, it's one of those things because like you're still just a consultant. You need to have like, it's one of those cases like, yes, you need to hire consultants, but specifically please just hire people who have an impact in the background. So like not just consultants like writers, the electors, stuff like that, and have wider systems of that. This is the thing people talk about. It's important not to have just the elector like a whiter or like a delector. It's important to have people in the background that do the work, so like consultants, but also like specifically other people working that can ensure the system works, like producers and stuff like that. Because making piece of art is not just one person. Yeah. This is specifically associsized like me. I lost a bit of my thought, so I'm just trying to think.
It does happen sometimes. You get a thought going, and you get halfway down the track.
No, it's just like one of those things where like you need to have a system of implementation that's just much more wider than just, of course, having a consultant. It's just like you need to actually have people there that can have some impact. Wait, does something
like happen? On the actual like production side of it.
Yeah, on production side of it, and also like just and just a bit more like actually have ways to that system can impact. And that's just hire people. But yeah, it's just primarily a lot of implementation of the system, a lot of systematic stuff. And what I was going to say is like, as I've said before, with many people of 15 plus groups, even in America, like, so important also to understand, just because you hire many people, of course, goes in fact, you're not going to get the entire money experience, but that's so important. You're not going to get the entire money experience, you're also not going to get the entire money experiences of like every fucking group. Because different Romani people have different groups, like and have different cultures and stuff. Because this also ties into like, how do I explain, into like general culture stuff. It's like Romani people from Eastern Europe tend to be much more like from with the cultures of like the place in Eastern Europe, the form, but also like a Serbian Romani person still like is Serbian, so like they have a lot of Serbian cultural influences in some way. Like a Romani person from like Spain is mostly from the south of Spain. Andalusia has its own like specific culture. Yeah. But yeah, just primarily like just understanding like it's a very heterogeneous group. Like, and important to have people consulting systematic uses. Like again, as always, abolish capitalism, etc. We all know this. So like,
well, I guess it'd be in an absurd example, I suppose, but it would be like hiring like an American to speak for the entirety of America.
Yeah, it's like,
even if it was an area where they never visited, had no connection beyond perhaps media, and be like, what do they know?
Yeah,
what would they know about that area?
If you're doing like a Roma thing, actually, where meaning set on like Eastern Europe, hire a Roma person from Eastern Europe, and probably from the Eastern European country takes place here, because different countries, even the same region, have different culture, etc.
Now, Hive asks a question I think that ties into this. Hive asks, has the splintered nature of the Romani population worldwide caused contention about representation?
Oh yeah, like this happens. Like it happens with like every marginalized group. So like it happens. So like the specific, there's the same way like a lot of non-American queer people complain about how a lot of representation of queerness is just American. There's a lot of stuff with people that also ties into like specific, like a lot of the depictions are tied specifically to like Eastern European depictions by Europeans, and don't talk about like the Brazilian Roma or like Southern Europe. There's also a lot of things. There's a lot of splintering and like tensions about that, because there's a lot of tensions about Roma communities in themselves.
And Supid had said just quickly, thanks for providing actionable advice about that. It's very useful.
Yeah, again, you can ask me. I can ask me about anything in my marginalized space, to transness, Romaniness, disability, and I will ask. Not I'll ask, I will answer. Yeah. But yeah, it's one of those things, because like there's gonna be in-group tensions, because to give an example, this happens a lot with marginalized people in Europe, due to
Hmm.
the Europe is itself very segmented, because when we talk about Europe, we talk about like specifically a million different countries. So to give an example, a lot of people in Southern Europe do not like people from Northern Europe. The same way they don't like Americans, because they see them as like having a lot of economic power due to the European Union and other persons into like Southern Europe. There's also a lot of discrimination towards Southern European people. Like for example, a lot of Portuguese people, just even white Portuguese people, Italians, suffer a lot of discrimination in Germany or like even France because of society more dark skinned, but also the way more poor reasons. Like there's a lot of like discrimination over that. So that ties in into Xenu stuff, even with marginalized groups in other areas. Like there's tensions between like Southern European queer people and Southern European and like German queer people. There's tensions between like Italian queer person and a German queer person due to those economic differences. So like there's some with Romani people, though with Romani people due to tight knitness sometimes it's much more normal, besides because all of them have the same economic standpoint and social standpoint compared to other marginalized groups in terms of those differences. Though sometimes that differences like shows up. Yeah.
Now, I had a thought. I had a question. Because we're talking about getting more people involved from the Romani community and different Romani communities in like production of media to help address some of the stereotypes. But now you'd also had spoken a little bit about earlier on in the roundtable about how a lot of the communities can be very insular and not wanting to have dealings with outside of the community.
Mhm.
And does that also create difficulties in getting like proper representation? Where the folks who would be most likely to work with outside of community people, with the Romani who are most likely to work with
Mhm.
outside of community people,
Mhm.
are not necessarily like inside of Romani communities.
Yeah, yeah. It's just one of the things where like it's a very much messy topic.
Mm, mm, mm.
It's a very messy topic. So like the thing is, for me, you kind of just need to end discrimination basically, or like actually talk about these issues. To give an
Mm.
example, to give an example, in the current society we live in, a lot of stuff like what has been normally done, specifically with a lot of money people don't want to interact with like outsiders, is primarily just like normally somebody has a connection with somebody inside the community, and they use that connection either because they're actually Womani or like not Womani, but they have those connections and way they trust it, and then they build those connections to like make a movie or something.
Hmm.
Which is a very messy process, but has done it. Like the book talks, people have used those connections before to like do evil, specifically in like academic sense. It's like there's ex communities who are like suffered a lot from that, right? So like because of that, those ex communities would actually distract people, right? But specifically, the best you can do, honestly, is specifically in terms of like it's built towards anti-discrimination, fight against anti-woman capitalism, racial discrimination, etc., etc., and specifically just build trust. Like at this point, it's just build trust, try to make thing, and make sure the people you're hiring, the money people that you're hiring, not sexual identity or anything, but just sex they have. They're like you're hiring somebody that actually knows the community they're in, which is not to exclude those people who don't know, because those people can tell us so very beautiful stories. It's just to see what you're actually the person you're not dealing with, the person you actually hired as like a person,
Hmm.
because that person's not gonna be perfect. Like just know what you're doing in a way that doesn't sound demeaning or anything, or like
Now,
gatekeeping.
Hive mentions it seems like there are a lot of systemic barriers to even engaging in filmmaking from an outsider art perspective, like a Neil Breen.
Yeah, there's like a lot of outside, there's outside art woman directors. Like those people have done this, but specifically It just ties us into material things because when people already pause, they can afford cameras and everything. They can afford phones. But because they live in specific, a lot of the people live in very isolated communities, which like those communities are good. I will talk about this like the last one, but like those communities are important and still exist even after discrimination as a place of safe haven. But sometimes those communities are isolated on purpose. So like if you're gonna make outside arts can be difficult, it can be done. It's difficult. It's very much one of those things like systematic barriers need to be destroyed. But like due to the increase of like how much more it is to make art, there's been some like difficulty like remove them. In the sense that, like it's much more easier to use a phone, it's much more easier to get people, you can like get your family members like film stuff. I got like that.
I'm still looking. I'm looking at the example of Neil Breen, and because y'all showed me Neil Breen, and does anybody want to make outsider art like that?
Well,
Hive is saying, sorry. Hive continues a little bit later on and says, "Yeah, this is making me think of how I want to say this right. Jafar Panahi
I am.
managed to continue making films while under house arrest in Iran."
I am. Yeah, that's a good example. Quick background. Zafar Panahi is like a Iranian director with a lot of like experimental cinema that like pushes back against the Iranian government. So he got the house arrested and made a movie that's just him on house arrest. Specifically using his phone. And did stuff like filming a movie where he's like filming taxi driver conversations and stuff like that. Just to give an example, but yeah, like it's very much one of those examples. Like a lot of examples, you kind of need to like push founders' boundaries. Specifically when making films, in terms of like those spaces and communities. Yeah.
Hive was saying, for example, this is not a film, which is very cheekily titled. It was a documentary that was filmed on a phone and smuggled the footage outside of Iran inside of a cake. Which I'm guessing is the film that you had just mentioned.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think this has been nice. We still have like 5 minutes. So yeah.
Yeah, we are getting pretty close to the 5-minute count.
Yeah.
We may want to start to do a drawdown. Oh, I should mention before I forget, because that does happen. Holly did mention didn't want to derail the roundtable with goodbyes, so here I am. Good night. I hope you have a wonderful time and a great weekend.
Thank you. But yeah. I suggest to wrap this up because we're finishing the Almighty talk. I just as I wrap around, just when many people are real people, just treat them like human beings, fight discrimination, etc., etc. We go more into that. Yeah, that's just continued previous thing. Is just the man. Speaking of fucking nice people that don't get any representation, people, please be normal towards the fucking Ghost game. I beg of you.
That's. I mean, I feel like all of us can be normal about it.
Yeah, but yeah,
but
yeah. I'm not talking about you. Yeah, because we're all friends. Yeah.
It's a big ask for the wider gaming community.
Please think about girl boss those are colonialism, please. Please stop.
I mean, as long as it's a girl doing the colonialism, then it must be okay.
We need Golden Kamuya or whatever. Like it has this, but please just work by somebody that has actually worked at the angle.
Yeah, the soup was asking the ghost game. I think I missed something. We spent a bit during the LBP part of the stream talking about Ghost of Tsushima 2, and it's a lot.
Like the Ainu, like you'll need to find like an Ainu person to actually talk about this.
Yeah.
Which is a difficulty because you live in Tokyo, not Hokkaido. But at the same time, it's like basically the sequel seems to be set in pre-colonization Hokkaido. A couple years it was before, a couple like 100 years before the actual colonization of the Ainu, which is like a whole thing.
It's gonna be. Well, we'll see. I guess. I mean,
Next,
I feel like there's like there's no winning hand in that play. So,
Next Wii game, that game.
oh god, what would they do? What's 3 gonna be? Do you think they'll go down to fucking Ryukyu?
Fuck.
Could they be part of? They could be part of the fucking Satsuma. Oh god, I would scream. I would scream and cry and probably punch somebody.
Do you? No, I was gonna. No, this joke is too risky because there are too much levels to do this. But I was gonna make a joke about no, it's gonna be set in Korea.
Let's see. But last bits, so I don't miss anything. Hive mentioned that the first game was a lot already. This is absolutely true. Soup says, if there's time to answer, I also had a quick question about terminology for another genre of Roma music, but I'm perfectly fine leaving that for group DMs or for next stream.
Just ask. I can answer. It's very quick. I think I know what it is, but just ask.
Soup, if you want to ask really quick, now's your chance. We're gonna wait for that to show up.
Anyway,
Soup says I'll repost it. A musical group I enjoyed is referred to online as a G-slur brass band. Is there a more accurate term, or is Roma brass a sufficient?
I think you can use Roma brass. I think I know this. I know about this. Not specific band, but like the whole brass thing. Let's use Roma brass. You can mostly just substitute this law for Roma, and it works fine.
Okay.
In most contexts. Anyway.
All right. Well, we are getting
2 minutes.
Getting pretty close.
Well, I hope everyone loved
LBP
karting. Good gameplay.
I loved LBP karting. To be more serious, I said this at the beginning of the roundtable, but I want to reiterate it again. I want to heartily thank you for taking this time and this emotional spoon usage to give us your perspective and give us some background on this topic. I know it's something that's come up in stream a number of times, and it's often kind of difficult to talk about through text. So this is pretty big for me, and I really appreciate it a lot.
And I just want to say thank you, Weezer, for letting me be on this platform. And just want to say, we'll talk about this in DMs, or probably just groups, Discord still before you leave after we finish the stream. But when do you want to set the date for the next streams? Or do you want to set the date right now?
Let's talk about that. I mean, not that, just that my brains are not in a thinking about days mode at the moment. So if we could DM it just a little bit, and maybe by Monday's stream, then we can just like have a date to give folks.
Okay.
By Monday's stream.
As I thank you for hearing this out. Thank you for being on the stream, as always.
And thank you for sharing with us. And I'm going to do you're in control of the stream on the technical side.
I can end the stream.
So let me give my usual goodbyes, and then if you want to hit the button as soon as I finish, okay. Then we'll ask you all, as I always do, to please be taking care of yourselves out there in the meat space. Make sure that you're getting all of the hydration and electric eels that you need, especially if you are down in the southern hemisphere, because it's becoming summer and extremely hot right now. Please do try to get in at least one meal a day, even if it's kind of trashy, just as long as you've got some food going into your stomach. And if you've got medication, try to take those medications as close to schedule as humanly possible. But above all and overall, please do remember that you are important, you have value, you've got a lot of people out there that are rooting for you, want you to have your best life, want you to be safe and happy and love you. And I'm one of those people, but I'm only one of those people. There are many more. So from me, Bisco, here in Tokyo, and Alice out there in Portugal, from all of us to all of you, thank you. Arigato, arigasamdota, sayonara, see you, and ciao.
See ya.